This is Arthur, who's 7. Behind him is 4-year-old Riley. And with their mum, Natalie, Zach, who's 9. 3 brothers who've come straight from school to Parc Prison in Bridgend, South Wales, to see their father.
I've put a note in your yellow book for Daddy to tell him that you're learning all about rectangles and the number 2, okay?
Around 400 children come into this, Britain's biggest prison, every week. At security, they line up alongside Rahina and her 5 children.
They excited?
Very. Very excited to see the dad.
Put your arms out ready for me. Turn around for me.
From school dinners to searches and sniffer dogs in the space of a few hours.
All done.
The seldom seen choreography of childhoods being cast in the shadow of a Category B. Arthur, Zach and Riley's father is serving a 12-year sentence.
So this is my cell, 36. I've got some plaques on here to tell the guards what I'm up to.
He's a former solicitor convicted for his part in a multi-million-pound fraud.
I'm, a disgrace to my former profession, and I feel a disgrace as a father. I really do, because I'm not there, and I'm subjecting them to a daily pain of me not being there. They feel different to other children in the schoolyard, and they're having to deal with that shame.
And you take full responsibility for having caused all of this. You're not in denial about
completely
any of this.
Yeah.
I mean, you are the reason why you are here, and apart from your wife and your boys.
Exactly, yeah.
We interview him on a wing, spearheading a different approach to Britain's chronic reoffending rates. Still, nearly half of all adult prisoners will reoffend after release.
Let me introduce you to Stan. Okay. Stan is a father to Timmy and Tammy and a husband to Tanya.
And here, as 16 inmates, all fathers begin an intensive 8-week parenting course. They're told to view the family as a crucible of reform.
How can a father fulfil his responsibilities then from prison?
The impact their offending has had on their families features heavily. Prison officer Trevor Latham here asks them to role play as children whose fathers have left them.
How important is Dad to you, and how do you feel when Dad isn't there?
Makes me feel let down.
Yeah.
Makes you feel let down, does it?
Yeah. Yeah, it upsets me.
It upsets you?
Yeah.
Does it do anything else for you?
Anger.
You feel angry?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. Round of applause, please. Okay. Getting to the minds of a child must be quite easy. It's quite easy, isn't it? Because I think we've all been there, and we may not have had absent parents, but
it was easy, but it was scary too.
Scary?
From my perspective, yeah.
Why, Johnny?
Oh, I don't know, I'm going to be a bit emotional here, but yeah, just...
Is that the answer?
Yeah, just knowing what my boys are going through, really.
What's happening in this prison, on this wing, T4, feels very different, and it's actually underpinned by a pretty simple philosophy. Keep the prisoners in here closely tied to their families, and you reduce the risk that they'll reoffend when released. Not only that, and this is equally critical, you also make it less likely that their children will end up in prison too. So goes the theory. Behind this, the Family Intervention Unit. There's mounting evidence, they claim, to show that families can play a pivotal role in reducing reoffending. So on this 60-bed wing, they're all fathers, and the ethos is the same, spelled out in the ubiquitous maxims and winsome images lining the walls. Family comes first. Here, convicted drug dealers, violent offenders and thieves walk past paper butterflies every day to be reminded of their children's painfully simple aspirations. I hope Daddy tickles me, reads one. It's about turning on the valve of empathy, says the man behind it all.
Probably the hardest thing you'll ever ask someone to do is to accept the damage they've done to their children and their family through their criminal lifestyle. They need to go down a bit. before they come up the other side. They're not going to come on here, do parenting programs and feel great about everything. They have to accept that they've caused damage.
It's also, they say, about teaching an inmate how to be an effective parent from prison, and that can take many forms here. This 13-week-old baby is being bathed by his father for the first time in a lounge within the prison.
Want you to wash them, do you, kid? Do you want me to wash your feet? Do you want me to wash your feet? Do you want me to wash your feet? Do you want me to wash your feet?
Daniel Brett is serving 14 months for a non-violent offence. His partner Chloe looks on as the lesson begins.
Put your arm under rather than your hand. Put your arm off.
Okay.
Yes, does that feel a bit better?
Yeah, so.
Put your hand.
Just don't want to be dropping them in the water.
No, it'd be fine.
But what's unorthodox for some is perhaps unpalatable for others, who'd view this as symptomatic of a regime more pampering than it is punitive.
Are you okay? Are you okay?
Because there will be lots of people who will consider it just one too many privileges,
Yes.
and not a punishing regime here.
Absolutely, and you know, most of us have been a victim of crime in some point in our lives and can fully understand that. So it's not, you know, you can look at this too simply. We're just giving them stuff, and it's not in any way about just giving them stuff. That is such a powerful catalyst for change, and it's such a simple thing to do.
Why do you think it's such a catalyst?
Because it's the guy's child, because it's about what they're feeling. You know, it's not sitting in a classroom just trying to engage this and feeling nothing. You can learn how to not be an offender. It's not difficult, but we can't teach them to feel that. The family can, and their child can.
And when you go back to your cell, how do you feel about an experience like this?
Something I'll remember. First time, obviously, doing it, and obviously I'm stuck in 4 walls every day, so, you know, it's just something I'll treasure, so.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 adults. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
What really catches the eye here also is the focus placed on some of the 100,000 or so children in Britain today who, it's thought, have a parent in prison. For some, it will have a profound impact. Evidence suggests prisoners' children are twice as likely to experience mental health problems as their peers. And according to one much-cited study, 2/3 of boys with a parent in prison will go on to commit crime themselves.
This table sums it up. We've got the prisoner, we've got the children and his family. We're trying to stop the likelihood that this guy goes out, creates more crime, more victims, and comes back to prison. But we are equally about trying to stop the likelihood that these children drift into crime because they have a father in prison.
Which is why the prison's monthly homework club, the moment these children have been waiting for all afternoon, is, we're told, as much about their welfare as it is their father's rehabilitation.
What do you want to do now, Ali? Any other homework you got?
Kashif Akram is serving a 7-year sentence for drug offences. His daughter Aria is 9 and her sister Aliyah 10.
What do you miss most when your dad's away?
When he jumps around and when he...
Your daddy's a joker, isn't he?
Yeah. And when he tickles us and put us to bed.
You miss that?
I miss that he used to chuck us in the bed. He used to tell stories. He used to tickle us in his hobbies.
Add their waste and dead bodies to
That's nice, isn't it?
No.
So they put them in coffins? They just kind of rot away in the soil, do they? Little creepy crawlies and animals.
Yeah.
What's the best bit about homework club?
It's just like sitting on the couch and reading together.
And how nice is this time just with your dad?
It's really good.
But with the excitement come tears also, and a hug from a prison officer. For a 10-year-old, these moments are no doubt as intense as they are fleeting. This makes a difference, in your view?
In my view, a huge difference, yeah. Because it does, they do go back, sit in their cells, and it does hit home the impact that imprisonment is having on their families. And they have to sit in that cell at night and they have to face this.
How effective is it all? The prison claims fewer than a third of the 500 or so who've been through this programme have been reconvicted, much lower than the national average. But these figures are not yet conclusive. What do you want to get out of being on this wing?
I just want to keep my family together, you know, keep my family ties, so when I get released, you know, I still got my family around me.
And do you think that'll have an impact on whether you would re-offend or not?
Yeah, of course. It will have effect, yeah. If I have nothing to go out to, you would re-offend otherwise, wouldn't you?
This prison, run by the sometimes controversial private company G4S, is not without its problems. Drug abuse high among them. But their family work here has been praised by inspectors as outstanding. There are governments overseas looking to adopt a similar model. And for prisoners like Daniel Brett and his cellmate Andrew Cyrus, it is making a difference, they claim. What did you take from the session this morning? What did you learn from it?
Basically, it just made you wake up and realise certain things, like all the stuff we learned today, we already knew anyway, like, but I knew everything we learned today. It's just sometimes in life, a light bulb turns off in your head, like, I mean, it makes you forget certain things that's important in life. It kind of wakes you up a little bit, like, so it makes you aware a little bit more what you're doing to your family and the outlook.
Both are due to be released later this year. How about you, Daniel? That moment when you leave here?
The only words could describe. It's just, I've experienced it before, but I didn't have no kids. So, you know, but now it's just, I don't even know, words don't describe it. It's a moment that I'll cherish, just seeing my two, obviously my kids.
It's a dream right now. It's a dream right now still. No, I haven't been thinking about it because every time I think about it, it's just emotional really, like. Because you know, my kids are out there and I'm in here.
I love you.
Love you.
Okay, take it. Bye, buddy.
Bye, Dad.
Riley. Bye.
In February, David Cameron described the failure of the British prison system as scandalous and called for wholesale reform.
How are you now?
This scheme has been running quietly in Parc for 5 years now, at no extra cost, they claim, and yet it's never gone mainstream. As successive governments talk up radical prison reform, will this emphasis on the role a family can play help shape that agenda? Or will it remain largely marginalised, seen as too soft, a reluctant bolt-on to a programme which promised a rehabilitation revolution 6 years ago, but which has barely yet begun?